Yo, what's up,
What's up,
Nica?
guys?
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you both. Thanks to you guys for hosting too. So
No, it was a pleasure. It was a little bumpy at the first, but it actually turned out to be kind of successful. Like that was super fun to watch your matches. So I guess there's always a couple of questions first whenever you do a winners interview. I don't know, Nika. Have you done many winners interviews?
it's funny. Through all the online tournaments, I think there's not many organizers who do like a lot of like interviews after.
Oh, you do the losers interviews.
Well, that's if that happens, but I think it's something where they kind of avoid the interviews just because it's hard to get some players to come on the commentary and everything too. So
Well,
But,
thank you for
yeah.
knowing how Discord works and hopping in here with us, to chat with us or whatever.
Yeah.
So I guess the first question, what was the hardest matchup? Where did you sweat the most? Like, who would you like to give any of your competitors today? Who would you like to give the biggest props to?
Well,
Or
actually,
maybe you didn't even have to play them. Like, if there was
No.
somebody who played today that you would like want to shout out.
the funny thing is that Big Dan actually played because obviously I played him in winners and then I played him in grand finals,
Yeah.
and I saw a little bit of an adjustment there
Right.
from when he first played to like the second set. So I was like, okay, that was a pretty nice adjustment because it forced me to change up a few things. Yeah.
Oh.
So that was a pretty nice one. So yeah, I enjoyed that.
Shout out to Big Dan's adjustments. So that was the hardest match you played all day? I mean, I get it. Like, you're seed number one. Thank you for competing up to your seed, fulfilling the destiny and all that sort of thing. But be that as it may, I mean, I thought when I was watching that, I was like, yeah, we put Nika number one, but he could lose here. Like we could see an upset almost.
That's the thing that you learn when you play Third Strike for so long. Anything can happen. It's like sometimes the seeds may look like, okay, you can map out the players, but you never know. That's why you play the games.
Yeah, but then when it's the finals, like that's a first to three. Like it kind of boils down the consistency a little bit, right? Like, I mean, that's why I think everybody likes team tournaments in Third Strike because it's just like, we're playing first to ones. Character numbers, matchup numbers don't matter as much. You can kind of bullshit somebody out. We get some upsets. We get some OCGs. We get momentum going, and that's always fun. But yeah, I mean, I guess actually the game is volatile enough. That even in a first to three, you can still kind of see some stuff.
It can always happen. I've had just recently I had Frankie come back against me at the auto qualifier, so I never rule anything out. So it's one of those things that's like I said, that's why we play the games, and all it takes is for just one player to get cold and the other to get hot. So.
Right. Well, or for the network to fucking drop a bunch of packets, or my fucking cat to jump on my stick or whatever. Yeah. Oh, my room is too hot now. My computer's overheating. But no, I appreciate the sentiment. So that almost brings me to a spicy question, which I might save. But the next real question would be: all right, now you won $200. What are you spending it on?
Well, I'm not gonna disclose that.
It was a bad prize pot. Like for an online tournament, dude. Like I was so surprised for it to get that high. Like that was
I had no
crazy.
idea. Yeah, that's I think it's the fact that
you can save bills if you want to, or gas money. Like I don't give a shit.
No,
you can save bills.
No,
is it something spicy? It's something spicy.
Will you let the man
answer? Let's just say it'll go to a medium rare steak, I guess.
There we go. Okay, steak dinner. That's how steak dinners are in New York.
Well, I guess it depends on where you go to, but I guess if we were to get into a food conversation, that would take up the whole day.
Yeah,
but no, it was really nice to see that because I saw that with all the entrants for Third Strike, it always takes like some time for players to join, and to see it grow up to like 34 players, I always enjoy tournaments like that, like just based on the numbers when it's more than 20 players entering, just because it's like it builds a lot more excitement for like the path of these players to go through, and just the amount of matches that you get to play. I mean, it sucks for you guys because you have to go through the whole thing, but
and it's like I get it. Like every online tournament does it kind of differently with check-in, and it depends on what platform you're using, and it's like, how do you want to do check-in? Do you want to at me 30 minutes before the tournament? Do I want to go fucking check a box? Like, for us, it's if you're in the bracket or if you're in the lobby, that counts as your check-in. I don't know what the ideal way to make it easiest to do is, but
no, I think you guys ran a pretty tight ship. It's something where everything was communicated. We had no I don't think we had any issues with anything. So yeah, it was fine for me. So I enjoyed it.
Nice.
And there were a bunch of players that entered too that, even though I didn't really get to play a lot of them, it's still something. You see some of those matches that you're like, I wonder how this player would do against another, like the other player. So that was nice to see. So
we got a fan question. How are you so ready to parry all the time? Is it a Twitter thing? Is it a fucking Christopterian? You're just fucking option selecting parry every time, or is it maybe 20 years of experience playing the goddamn game?
So when it comes to the pairing, I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna get into that whole discussion because that could be another subject.
Let's go.
But no, it comes down to the execution, the understanding of the game. It's people think that like pairing is so easy in this game where you could just tap forward and tap forward multiple times and that's it. But no, you have to have an understanding,
right.
And understanding of the game mechanics and understanding of the characters themselves too. So
awareness.
Yeah, and I understand that that's lost on some players.
Sure.
But
you said you weren't gonna get into it.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing it out there. But the idea is that the more you explore the game, the more you get to realize, like, okay, what can I do? And just like anything else, whether it's Alpha, CVS2, Street Fighter 4, 5, 6, the more you explore the game, the more you understand, and that's why 20 years plus with this game allows us to enjoy it because we understand it.
Right.
So.
You see people even playing Street Fighter 5 in 20 years?
Do I see people playing Street Fighter 5 in 20 years?
Yeah.
No.
I don't see people playing Street Fighter 5 now.
Yeah, I mean, look at Street Fighter 4, I mean, people stopped playing Street Fighter 4 once 5 came out.
I'll push back on that a little bit. I think I still see a couple, there's a little, like, pocket of Street Fighter 4 aficionados and, like, diehards, like, they came in at 09, they're still kind of about it. It's a very small subsegment, then, like, there's definitely fewer, like, SF4...
you know what? Let me rephrase that, because you remember the time when Street Fighter 4 came out, everyone and their mother was like, "Oh, Third Strike is dead." Third Strike is like, not going to be anything.
They might have said that. Like, I played the game for 2 weeks and went right back to Third Strike. I was just like, oh, this ain't it.
Yeah, but it's like even after that, it's like when the other iterations of Street Fighter 4 came out. You had Super, you had
Ultra,
Arcade, Ultra. Yeah, and it's like when all those came out, everyone was like, "Oh, Third Strike is dead." But no, we kept on playing, and we kept on having our tournaments. And look at us now. We're probably bigger than Street Fighter 4 at the moment.
100%.
Yeah, and that's just because of perseverance. That's always been the case. So with Street Fighter 4, I was actually mentioning this to other players too, that for Street Fighter 4, I feel like players don't really know what they're playing for. With Third Strike, we're playing this game because, in the exact words that I said, this game is fucking sick.
Chicks dig it.
Well, I mean, with Street Fighter 4, it's like, you're not really getting any... if you're not enjoying it, then you're not going to play it. Even after
do you
all
think
the
it's a matter of enjoyment? I don't mean to cut you off. Is it a matter of enjoyment, or is it a matter of like community and what Jazzy's done for Third Strike to like give us something to fight for? Versus if Street Fighter 4 had a Jazzy sort of thing going on, do you think it would be as big as Third Strike?
If Street Fighter 4 had a Jazzy, potentially, it could be. But I think it's just the player base themselves. Like, they just did not enjoy Street Fighter 4. They just played it because of the attention that it got, the amount of eyes that were put onto it.
Right.
If a random player came out of nowhere and just beat like, one of the top players in a 2 out of 3, or Christotarian, for example, in 2 out of 3, it's like that one player would be noticeable for like an entire month. Everyone would talk about that player. But now it's like with Third Strike, you don't really get that. It's like, you play the game because you enjoy it.
Right.
And
all the money that you win from winning the finale, right?
Yeah, there's that too. I mean, that's another incentive, but I think for most players, even the top players, like Amir, EXO, and etc., it's like you play it because you enjoy it. That's the biggest thing.
All right, I'll let Versaga ask some questions, and I got one spicy question after he's done for you.
Okay.
No, I'm having a good time just listening to it. I mean, so Nica, you played out of your mind. You I think you catch a lot of people off their toes with your experience and your recognition. You catch those funny parries, when you catch those red parries, those crouching red parries. I was just admiring your gameplay, and I think Big Dan, as you were talking earlier, Big Dan did a great job, making his adjustments. But you just were able to beat him and persevere and come through and close out those matches. So like for you, like what's that like when it starts getting to the high level play where people are now really starting to mix up their options? What's that like for you to stay aware of that?
The thing is that you sort of have to give respect to the gameplay that you're seeing on the screen. It's like, yeah, you have the names, you have the recognition. It's like if I were to play someone like Poe, like I would be respectful of the fact like, okay, I know what he's capable of. So I would go in with it with a careful mind and say, okay, let me be careful in these specific situations. So I'm a little more prepared for that. Whereas with someone like Big Dan, I don't recall us playing too much recently. So his playstyle was a little bit out of the ordinary for me. So I was like, okay, I played a bunch of Akuma players, but what kind of style does he have currently? So I had to figure that out after. Luckily, in the first set, I kind of had an idea. But then that's why in the second set he changed it up a little bit. So then, at that point, I had to come up with different options. Like, okay, let me be a little bit more safe on wake up, or let me look for these specific things on his offense to get an opening. Like, that's why you saw me do a red parry. That's why you saw me try to abuse that idea of dive kicking early, so I can parry and super through his fireball to get that damage. So little situations like that make all the difference. And one of the biggest things, and this is probably overlooked, is that one situation I walked up to him and I waited, and then I saw him do a crouch jab. That immediately I was like, okay, I'm gonna put that in the back of my mind. And then lo and behold, I didn't do anything with it until the last exact moment to close it out. And that comes with the experience. You see these things and you realize, okay, you pinpoint something and you use it to when it's most beneficial for you.
And so you kind of catch that habit a lot then, huh? Like when people when they're panicking, or not, I don't even want to say he was panicking.
Yeah, but, like more so like little things that they do in the heat of the moment. Because in a tournament match, I mean, you guys know it. In a tournament, it's like we kind of have like that tunnel vision, right? So when we have that, it's something where you either put that stuff in the back of your mind and really think about it, or you say, okay, let me just play my game as I do it, and then whatever comes of it comes of it. But for me, I've had experience with this. I've played different environments, so I was aware of it, and it came down to the adjustments. So.
If there was one player in the bracket that you feel like, I don't know, this one, he's the one that will give me a challenge, would you say it was Big Dan, or would you say maybe it was Flex Money? Like who would you say was the one that was really kind of surprising you all tournament?
Overall, because there was a couple. Shakunetsu was pretty surprising. I haven't really seen like an Akuma from Canada like that since No More Funland. And No More Funland was an older Akuma player from back then who we used to play on Xbox Live. But yeah, I haven't really seen too many Akuma players, so that took me by surprise. And Dagger G was obviously, he's always a consistent one, so you kind of want to, you always want to avoid trying to play him.
Yeah,
So
fuck that guy. Get him on your team so you don't have to play him.
So, but one nice entrant was Bucktooth, the CVS2 player.
Oh, really?
He was a nice entry for this tournament, because I always enjoy seeing those players come from other games and come into Third Strike. So I always enjoy that.
Yeah. He's one of our Northwest natives now. He's out here and always places consistently well in CVS2 and ST. I think he's made top 8 in Third Strike a couple times out here in Fight Kingdom.
Yeah.
He's a family man now, so he's doing the whole Guile thing. All right, Donald. What was the? Let's hear the.
All right, question. So we got a spicy round. You ready for the spicy round?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna ease you into it.
Well, I can handle spice, so I'm good.
Are you can't handle spice? You're Nicaraguan, right? You got spice, right?
No, I can. Yeah, like I can.
All right. Are you wearing Crocs today?
Yes.
All right. That's your 1 star. All right, 1 star. Pass flying colors. What did you learn? What did you learn today?
What did I learn today?
Yeah, you played an entire bracket. I get it. Throw it another one on the pile. Whatever. You've won a bunch. But was there anything that you learned by playing this bracket today?
You mean like in the actual tournament, right?
Either or, like either observing or in playing.
I would say more so about myself in terms of this is something that I've actually been working on. It's more so like my pace of play. My pace of play.
Pace is important. It's something super overlooked in this game, I think, lots of times.
Yeah, and I made this comparison before, like between myself and KO, where KO is much slower than I am in terms of offense and in terms of like movement. So for me, like I found that there are some holes that I have when I play slow. So for me, that's something where not necessarily that I learned about other players, but I learned more so about myself.
I'm sorry. What does that mean? What holes explicitly?
Well, yeah. So that was I was gonna basically mention that, like, for example, in certain situations, like let's say if I'm getting close to the opponent, there comes that little scrambly type of situation, you know, where he presses a button, then I press a button, like as an oops button, you know,
panic
like
button.
we sort of like interact in that sort of way, and it's like it sort of messes around with the flow of the match in the sense that like he presses something, then I press something, then it's like, okay, let me go for like a walk up, and then he does low forward into super or something, and then it's like I get hit.
Yeah.
Those are the scrambly situations that I'm trying to avoid, and that's something that I learned about from myself today, is that I still need to work on those sort of things, because those are the gaping holes that I have in my gameplay, and it's something where I try to either maneuver that or try to avoid it altogether, based on positioning. So these are the little things that you do as you get higher in terms of level.
Wait a second. But before you go on, when you say based on positioning, because like I assume you're already both in like poking range. If I press a poke button, or your opponent presses a poke button and you press a poke button, they're both going to connect, right? So you're saying in these scrambling situations, you're getting hit anyways. So why would the spacing apply to that concern?
So as an example, let's say a Shoto walks up and does low short short, and then into low strong. My tendency as a player,
were you talking about a Shoto or whatever?
A regular Shoto, it doesn't matter which one.
Yeah.
Generically, my sort of mindset as a player is like, okay, after low short short, it would sort of be my turn to sort of counter and do something else afterwards.
Crouch parry, option select. This game's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, something like that. But then it's like, let's say I mess up that parry, or he does something else. Like let's say he does low short short, and then toward medium punch with like Ryu or Akuma.
Yeah.
It's like that's a really wonky situation to deal with.
I don't know if you play Third Strike, but we don't call it medium punch. We call it strong. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So
continue.
So no, but that's the idea. It's like in situations like that, I would try to interrupt in between the low short short and in between, the toward strong. So the idea is that I'm trying to.
Well, you did that a couple times actually. I remember. Like I guess we did. Yeah. You interrupted the overhead a couple times.
And that's why, that's the glaring thing for me, is that I'm trying to avoid that, where, trying to slow myself down in those type of situations, so that way I can capitalize on my life being elongated, basically. Because you come to realize that at some point, when you lose your life quickly, you can't play anymore, right? So the idea is,
or you just have to adjust how you play. Yeah,
and that comes into this. It's like your defensive options end up causing you to live longer and emphasizing your offensive options. So in that sense, it's like us as American players, we're so focused on offense that our defense suffers at some point.
I've heard the opposite. I know this because this like implicitly, or this implies that the Japanese players are better at defense. But what I've heard also about Japanese players is that they don't have to, that American players, once you get to mid to top level, it's that they are reacting more. They're waiting for your opponent to make a mistake, whereas the Japanese players, they lean into their offense because their offense and their options are so good that there's no holes. So I kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm getting into a spicy question number 3 yet, but
No, because that actually applies to it too. Because the higher you go in terms of level, like let's say like KO, MOV, Nuki, that type of caliber,
mhm,
they play their basic gameplay in a safe manner,
yeah,
but they also have their reactions the
right.
same way that the top American players do.
Yeah.
But because they're so emphasized in terms of their defense and their lack of risk, they're able to last longer. Playing KO in a first to 10 or in casuals, it's like we have the same offensive options. We literally do the same exact thing.
Right.
And he even said it too. Like when
Because
I played him,
he doesn't go for technical hard shit either. Like he keeps it simple. Just do the optimal thing. It's not that hard.
yeah, and literally the same exact thing that everyone sees me do is the same exact thing that he does.
Yeah.
The only difference is that he lasts longer because of his defense. He waits at certain moments, whereas I don't. And going back to the original point was that that's the part that I learned most about this particular tournament. So about myself, essentially.
That's crazy. Like, what is so impressive to me is that, given your experience and all your tournament wins, blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to negate these or whatever, but like, given as much as you've done with this game,
Mhm.
you are still capable of learning, right?
Yeah.
Like, and like from any given interaction. And like, I feel like that is just a good example of like what it takes to like that continuous improvement, that like Kaizen mindset of like a little observation turns into a small improvement, and you do that every day. And after 20 years, like, hey, what do you know? You're the fucking best player on a continent, whatever.
Mhm.
So then from that, what extrapolations can you draw as a best advice? Like, what is the like your go-to advice for a beginner to mid-level player? Like, what is the thing that you always tell them to do, or something? Because I assume this is a question that you probably field a lot.
Mhm.
And I mean, past like I've been playing from the game for 2 years, right? Like I know all the system mechanics. I've been playing the same character for 12 to 24 months. Agnostic of what the matchup is
Mhm.
or who the character that they play is. What is the thing that you tell like middling C to B level players to do, to focus on, to watch for Third Strike?
The thing that I love about Third Strike is that that's such a nuanced question for a Third Strike.
We got time. We got time. I mean, I got time. I don't know if you got time, but like we got time.
The funny thing is that it's for as an example, obviously this is a hot topic these days because of
You want to do hot topics
Twi-
right now? You want to do
no,
hot topics
but
now?
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna crack another
As
beer.
a-
Like, you want to do hot topics?
As a player example, let's say if Chris T came up to me
Who's that?
and said,
Who's that?
well, he's an up and coming chem player. Let's put it that way.
C level? C level kin player?
I think he's B on
Okay.
5K these days.
No shit.
But
5K rank doesn't matter.
yeah, I know. But just in terms of,
You
Yes,
agree with
I-
it? You agree with that statement that like 5K rank doesn't matter?
Donald, will you shut up and let him talk?
Yeah. He's having fun. All right.
yeah. So in terms of ranking, obviously for the
I don't know who Chris T is. Like, that's real shit. Okay, but continue. I'm sorry.
So Chris Tatarian, obviously.
Obviously, like, I don't know who he is.
Well,
I literally don't know who that is.
Let me pull him
So-
up real quick so we can move forward.
he's
Chris T.
yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rusnak.
Go ahead, Nico. Okay. Chris T. He's a Street Fighter 4 player. He's really good Ken player. I think he was in California. Really good Ken player. Solid 5 player. I think he's played 6 very seriously. Now but he's been dipping his toes into Third Strike for I want to say a couple years now.
A couple years.
So he's always kind of been a Ken player, and he had some words about Third Strike on Twitter not too long ago.
Oh, I saw that. I remember that.
Oh, so you do know who he is?
I don't know who he is. All I saw was some Twitter post.
Come on. Okay.
I saw he's
but
a dude posting on Twitter.
But
I
you
don't
get
know-
the
did he win a tournament? Did he
person
win
that
a
I'm referring
Evo?
to. You get the person that I'm talking about.
Well, maybe, but there's been
anyway,
a bunch of modern games since then, right? Like, there's been Street Fighter 4 or 5. I don't know if he like won Evo in 4. I don't know if he won Evo at 5 or fucking whatever.
I think he had like one big win at 5, like just
Okay,
one.
okay.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a solid Chem player, but for as long as he's been playing, I think he had like one big
Okay,
win.
so thank you for indulging me. Please continue.
so going back to the original question, when it comes to if I were to give like some type of advice to him, From what I've heard, he does a lot of like low forward EX fireballs. He does a lot of sort of the basic stuff that seems safe in Third Strike, whereas at a higher level it's not necessarily safe. So for someone like him, I would just tell him, what's specific about his gameplay that he should avoid. He most likely has a defense. It's like if I see a player like that, if he has the defensive aspect to his game, I'm going to tell him, okay, you shouldn't really worry about that, but this is the biggest cause for concern in your gameplay that'll lead eventually to a problem when you get to a higher level.
Can you say that again? One more time.
So,
back.
So essentially, as a player habit, he's going for low forward EX fireball.
Yes.
As an example, his defense could be fine, and currently low forward EX fireball for his level would be okay, but I'm identifying that as a potential problem for later on down the road.
Right.
So I would tell him, like, listen, this low forward EX fireball.
So far.
Not only that, but this low forward EX fireball is going to lead to extremely bad habits down the road.
No.
So you wanna try to identify those early and nip it in the bud, because otherwise you start to see players, get to that plateau, from mid-level to above average, and they say, "Damn it, I can't get any further," because I've been there. I recall exactly what it was like to be in that position, and it takes a lot to break those bad habits when you have no one to identify it at an early stage. So always trying to identify the biggest mistakes early on, whether it's a player habit or defensive aspect, or even if it's something as simple as, okay, you need to work on your combos. Something as simple as that. So it's a very nuanced question, but I would identify something like that and cater it to the player's skill level.
It almost like, I mean, the fact that you revert back to a specific player and saying something of like, it needs to be a part observational, where it's like, what are you doing? Like, why would you call out a single player? Like we said, middling players. You know what I mean? Like, why would you necessarily call out and say Christie specifically?
Well, I wouldn't.
As an example, okay. Anybody.
Yeah, like my thing is
the first question would be, who do you play? I guess, to really answer the question.
Well, you mean in terms of giving advice, or?
Yeah, I mean, if the question is like, what is your best advice that you give to middling players? How do I get better? Nica KO, I hear you're really good at this game. You have a great YouTube channel.
And there's no generic way to answer that, and
there's no go-to cookie cutter boilerplate. Nothing
never.
You go to. Yeah.
Never. Not in this game, unfortunately.
Okay, so then I guess actually the follow-up really is, I mean, thank you for again indulging. The follow-up question would be like, what is your probing question? If somebody asks that, is it what character do you play? What matchup are you struggling with? What aspect of the game system mechanics do you have a problem with? What are your probing questions then?
Exactly that. Basically, as an example, I try to encourage the critical thinking aspect of it. Get the player to start thinking about it themselves. Because, if they start getting the answers to everything, from another player, they're going to rely on that. Because one of the things that I've seen, there's a local player who actually played on Friday in Brooklyn. And
I watched that tournament. You can name names. Like
it was Kiyoshiro, and
Kiyoshiro. I was gonna say Bossman Newsgate. Yeah. Go ahead.
And he came up to me and he asked me. He's like, "Hey Nica, I have trouble with this specific situation." And he's like, "I always have trouble with a dive kick in the corner from Yun." And I'm like, my first question was, "Are you like, what trouble are you having exactly?" He's like, "I'm just having trouble with it in general." I'm like, having trouble as in you can't parry it? Having trouble as in you can't block it? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
And he was like, originally he said like blocking it because of the way the angle is. So I told him exactly what you should do. Like in that situation, try to forward parry, then block. That way, you get a forward parry if it's in front of you. You get a block if it's behind you.
You option selecting motherfucking not real Street Fighter players. Yeah.
But the idea is that from there, he was like starting to wonder like, okay, what do you do after that? Like I have trouble with this. So I was like, okay, what exactly? Like you tell me. You You tell me exactly what you have trouble with. Is it like, are you scared?
Mhm.
Are you scared of the offense? Are you worried
Are you
about your
getting make?
execution?
Yeah.
So it's like these little things come down to how you see yourself as a player eventually.
Mm.
So you as a player have to look at yourself and say, okay, what am I doing wrong here? There's
Is it
some points you
emotion?
can.
Is it emotional or is it technical?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the funny thing, because that was the point that I made to him afterwards, was that, your problem as a player is not necessarily all these situations that you're going into. It's not the cross up dive kicks. It's not a jump in from Dudley that you should be worried about. It's your own emotional threshold as a player, because he gets really upset when he misses a combo, when he misses when he misses anything. So he lets that frustration boil over into his
Carry
gameplay.
over, yeah.
Exactly. So I tell him, I'm like, none of that matters, so long as you have that emotional, that emotion boiling over into your gameplay. Because so long as you do that, you're always going to start pressing the buttons harder. You're always going to want to,
Want it more.
yeah, you're going to want to get that combo out more, but then you're going to fuck it up.
Intrusive thoughts. Yeah.
And that's going to mess you up overall. So I told him, I was like, before you even start identifying any of that stuff, you have to isolate what is your problem as a player. And essentially that's what it comes down to. Even at a higher level, like even just like I mentioned, the one thing that I learned was like my basic defense, and you have to honestly look at yourself and self-analyze and have that critical thinking.
So I'll, to distill it a little bit, maybe if I can, if you'll allow me, keep you from rambling too much, sir. So your best advice for a middling player is it's that real self introspection. Like, hey, take a minute, stop, look, where are you at? What are your feelings? Why are you feeling this way? And then can you formulate that into a problem that maybe you can replicate and take into the training mode? I don't know. What else is it? Is it completely emotional and technical?
No, it's literally based on the player. That's why I say that it's such
nuanced question, takes a long time.
Exactly. Yeah, and obviously for any generalistic concept,
Best advice for middling players.
Yeah, I mean it's like middling. I mean, I could be a middling player.
Oh my god, you're so humble.
No, I mean
you're so cool. You're so cool, dude. Yeah, well, the mountain is very tall. The mountain is very tall, right? Like you go over to Japan,
not even that. It's the ebbs and flows of the way the game is played, and it's like I said, when I lost to Frankie, I felt like I was a middling player.
We'll get there. Calm down. We'll get there. Yeah.
It's like me asking, how was your Jazzy run? It's like what was troubling you at Jazzy, kind of thing.
The bar.
So it's like those little things come into play. You have to ask those questions. But generally, I try to emphasize more defensive options more than anything for any newer player. More so than just combo learning.
Absolutely, that's what this game is. This game is defense over offense. Like, you have to learn the offense of your fundamentals, like to get there or whatever. But like, defense over offense, I agree with you over 100%. Like, you just had to boil it down into 3 words. That's probably what I would say. Because do nothing in the first 20 seconds of a match doesn't count as 3 words. All right, so we'll move on to your next question. Next one. Hang on, I'm sorry. Just to give you a little roadmap of where we are, we're on question 4 of the spicy round.
Okay.
You got time? All right. The next one won't probably take as long. I think that was a very interesting conversation. Crouching strong as Yang. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about crouching strong as Yang?
It's pretty good. It's you can link it into super if you're close.
Yes.
You can come up with a couple of different setups off of it.
What are these setups? What couple different setups? Because there's only like 2 setups. It's like link it into super or like dash after it, because like Yang's dash is bad and you're kind of plus on a block. Like, what else do you do with it?
Well, you wouldn't do low strong and then dash. That's not.
You're plus, right? You're +1, right?
I would need to see. What the.
Oh, you don't know frame data? You don't know frame data either? I don't. I completely pulled it out of my ass, dude.
Well, I have the Bible here actually. I would need to see, but
what is your Bible for frame data?
It's the original Japanese frame data book that they have. It has all the.
Oh, in
all the
print,
stuff
like the
here.
Gamist or something. Like you have the fucking Arcadia
like-
magazine or whatever.
No, like it's officially from Capcom. Like they
Not Brady Games, right? Not that
No.
one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's +2, but you still wouldn't dash after low strong. That's silly.
For a middling player. All right,
No.
all right.
No,
all right.
even
Never-
middle lane players.
You
I've
heard it
never
here.
done.
You heard it here. Never dash. Never dash. This is a setup that will never get you anywhere. Holy shit!
Never,
All right.
never dash after low strong. That's
When
that's pretty
would you
specific.
dash? When would you dash? Close strong? Like close strong, you're +6, right? So would you dash after that?
No, I would
You
never.
would just never dash. Just never
I would-
dash.
No, not during because Yang's walk speed covers that. You
Right,
wouldn't need to
exactly,
dash
exactly.
when you have the walk speed that he does. But outside of that, there's low strong, then standing fierce, low strong, low short, low strong launcher,
Never
low strong
dash.
command grab. So
Never dash. Never dash. Don't do it. Just don't do it.
we're gonna have to change your name to Mustard Dash.
Oh my god. How dare you? How dare you? All right. Moving on to the next question. Yun Yang dive kick differences.
Mhm.
So this is the thing that happens a lot with Yun and Yang players. If you look up any of the online resources, you see a 668 and a 686 frame. Like that's all you get. You don't get recovery block. Like you get startup. Like when I say 668, it's like low, medium, hard dash. I'm sorry, dive kick for each, right?
Yep.
And then obviously the recovery and the block stun, your hit advantage or whatever, depends on height. And then everybody in third strike, their height is different. What in your experience so far has been the Yun Yang dive kick differences? Is Yun's dive kick just better than Yang's? Is Yang's dive kick better than Yun's?
Yun's is better than Yang's, yeah.
Why?
And that's
Just-
because
Of a hard? Something else.
no, I mean they're both similar in the sense that where they hit, how fast they are. I'm pretty sure the speed is relatively similar. I feel like Yun's is a little bit faster, but I would need to take a look again. But
It is better. It is better. Like, yeah, Yun's roundhouse dive kick is like, that's the 686.
right,
That's his
yeah.
spread. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but then in terms of how effective they are when they connect, when it's blocked or when it hits, they're both relatively the same.
They've always
You know.
felt the same to you forever, right?
Yeah, it's like there's always something that you can do to pressure your opponent, and it's obviously with Yun, with Ganachin, it's much more effective. But if you as basic characters, they're both really, 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 really strong. But Yun has a slight more advantage.
I mean, that takes all the frame data. Is there an alternate resource? Does the Bible say anything about block recovery or hit advantage for any of the dive kicks, or is it just the dash that says nothing?
In terms of the dive kicks,
Yeah. Like as the difference between Yun and Yang.
no, it doesn't identify that as a difference between the two.
No. Does it identify any values?
No, it's just the basic frame data in terms of the startup of a.
Well, startup's fine. I'm talking about like block and hit advantage.
No, it's not going to show that.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more. There's
Because there's a
certain
range.
ranges. Yeah, there's actually a good breakdown that Kodai posted on Twitter about the difference,
There you
where
go.
the lower it goes, the more plus you are. So I think if it hits you at like the tip of your knees, like as this is against Shoto's, against Ken specifically.
Uh-huh.
But if it hits you at your knees, you're like +2. Then it's like +1. Like he shows the different angles.
But the twins share those values, right?
Yeah, they should share those same values.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any big of a difference, but if you're +2 and you hit the opponent at the shin, you're obviously looking to connect something else afterwards. So
Sure.
one way or another, it's going to be effective.
I just didn't know if you felt a certain disadvantage with your dive kicks playing as Yang versus Jun.
No,
with the exception of the startup of like medium and hard, or medium and roundhouse, strong and roundhouse, forward and roundhouse. God damn it. So all right, last question before we get into we got a fan question before we get into the last spiciest question of the night. Fan question: what is your favorite setup after a knockdown?
My favorite setup after a knockdown?
Yeah.
Low forward slash.
Low forwards, regular slash, jab slash,
low
EX
forward jab
slash?
slash. Low forward jab slash. Yeah. Just because that leads into everything that I do. It could lead into launcher. It can lead into command grab. It can lead to walk back into low forward slash again. It leads into everything that I do.
Okay.
So that's my favorite.
There it is. All right. So thank you for sticking with us for this long interview. The spiciest question, and thank you to the viewers for staying for all of this fucking ramblings. The NYC auto qualifier. Did you know that you were not going to be attending the finale by the time the auto qualifier happened, right?
Did I know that I wasn't going to attend the Jazzy?
Yes.
I had somewhat of an idea.
Percentage. Give me a percentage.
I was 50-50.
Okay. So 50-50, that's oddly enough, exactly enough to work with. Did you throw the matchup?
No.
No. Easy.
No.
Okay. There's no New York collusion. I want Frankie to fucking qualify here.
Never. I never ever.
I already knew I was in on points. Nothing like that. I mean, I respect enough to say that.
Because, and I'll explain to you why.
Oh, okay.
Not even that. I love my fellow New York players.
Oh yeah.
I've always respected every single competitor that I've always that have ever met me in grand finals. I've always respected them.
Yes.
Even Kang, and people know how much how much I love, but I hate Kang for obvious reasons. But
that's a different question. We don't have time for that today.
No. But obviously, generalistically, whenever I played someone in grand finals, I showed the utmost respect to them to the point where I'm not going to throw anything.
I didn't think you would.
Yeah, and it's like, some people might think like, okay, you threw it, but no, he came back in 2 sets on me.
Yeah.
It's not like
fun to watch. Yeah,
and it's not like he just, it's not like I like missed my EXs on purpose. No, that's part of the gameplay. Like I will miss my EXs, I will miss a parry, I will miss a punish. There's that one specific situation where he did low forward EX fireball, and I parried it, but my standing short was way too far to hit him, so I wasn't able to kill him. I wasn't able to beat him with that. So because of that led into everything else, and everything spiraled down from there. And it's like, he made the best of it. He completely capitalized on those little mistakes, and there will never ever be collusion out there for me because I just never liked it. I never enjoyed hearing about it. It was the most stupidest thing ever because at heart,
we're competitors. Everybody
exactly we're all competitors.
And respect.
Here.
Respect is the big part of it. The biggest part of it. Yeah.
And mind you, it's not respect just to my opponent too. It's respect to everyone who competed.
Yeah.
No, not even that. It's respect to everyone who competed. It's like, how does everyone else feel if like I made grand finals and then like, okay, I know this guy, so I'm gonna throw the match.
It's not about knowing the guy. It's like you already knew you could have qualified on points, on online points.
No, because the thing is that I qualified before, and things worked out where I just couldn't go. No. But that's not going to stop me from attempting. The same way I tell people before with the online tournaments, you shouldn't stop entering those online tournaments just because people are high on points. You should always enter, always make the best of your opportunity.
It's good experience.
Yeah,
because there was a time back in the day where we didn't have online tournaments with 5K as good as it is, and like you're so lucky to be able to sit in your basement in your like fucking Dorito underwears and play Crocs. Game. Yeah, well, that's crazy. You're wearing Crocs indoors.
well, these are indoor. Crocs.
Oh, you got 2 pairs? You got an outdoor pair of Crocs, indoor pair of Crocs?
Well, yeah. How else would I play in these tournaments?
You heard it here first. Nica KO wears Crocs.
No, but yeah. I mean, as competitors, like we just want to play our best. Yeah. Like there's no nonsense behind it. So
hell yeah. Well, you made it through the spicy round. Thanks for sticking around. Sorry, you got anything else?
Yeah, any words to wrap up, Nica? Anything you want to do before we sign off?
Yeah, I appreciate you guys running this tournament. It was really nice. I definitely look forward to more, and this is something that we need more of. Like just more regular tournaments to get people to play more. So any tournaments like this, I'm always willing to support, and always looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, for sure, man. We definitely want to, I guess we can tell you about it, and Donald and I have been talking about it, and we're kind of getting some ideas in the works. after a tournament, we want to encourage all skill levels, right? Nica, you're one of the strongest players in our country, if not the number one spot. It's always fun to see you in these brackets. I love seeing you in Exoguad. I love seeing people like Big Dan kind of rise to the occasion. Flex Money, who had a powerful run. And it's always great to see those. But then we got the other players that are like just I like to support too. So we're thinking about trying to do like I'm taking this out of your page, like a single limb, one match tournament for like all entry levels, right? Because anything can happen in a way. First to one.
Yeah.
Like a little post bracket tournament in the future. Maybe eventually, like maybe incorporate teams. Right now, I really like this stuff. So the double elimination tournament for now.
Yeah.
But these are things that we definitely want to do to encourage players to stick around and hang out. But also, with that, Mustardback and I were talking. It's like, man, like we would love to have, maybe eventually see how much traction this Option Select 3, how much traction it gains. We were talking about, trying to have players, fly players out here.
Yeah.
To play at the Neko Dojo, play on Mustardback's place.
Yeah.
Because he maintenances his cabinets very well. I think he has 3 head-to-head cabinets. If you're allergic to cats, I don't know, but he is, right? Like he does a great job hosting.
Yeah.
So we were definitely talking about that. It's like, man, it'd be so great to have that, for you to actually meet, to hang out, but like, then you can meet Flex Money and all these other people who know who you are.
Yeah.
Once we're like, man, like, wouldn't it be a good idea if we can start, eventually turning this into like a series, right? Where like the prizes, like we can fly something out.
Yeah.
And just kind of start getting that recognition. What do you think about that? What's your opinion on something like that?
I love that. That's always been something, because I actually have a passion for that too, where it's like, during the 2015, from 2015 to 2017, our group, This Is Their Strike, we sort of did that. We kind of encouraged like players to come out, even though it was mainly East Coast based. But at the time we had 5-star come out. Then it culminated into like, the TFCs and everything like that, where we got like the Japanese players to come out. So things like that lead to bigger and better events, and it sort of brings out all those other players who almost never come out anymore, and it's like, it's really exciting to see that. It's always exciting to see the numbers, the amount of players come out, and just the passion, the passion for the game itself. It's like seeing players on those casual setups and just having fun. It's like, man, that's always been a thing for me. Like, I've always been that way. I've always enjoyed that, and I always encourage that. So that's definitely a good thing.
Yeah. I know. Maybe I could talk Mustardback, because I see that Frankie's in here in the chat, and I was like, man, it's like maybe I'll, because Mustardback's the one with all the money. So I'm like, hey, Mustardback, I'm bring a +1. I'm bringing a +1, and it could be your wife, it could be Frankie. No one will be mad at you.
And you want me to fly motherfuckers out here? Come on.
No, but so, I think just in terms of like the ending notes, I guess I would say, is for those players who are looking to get into it, it's like you can basically just start online. Like, don't be afraid of like online play. Don't be afraid to like put yourself out there, and just consistently play and look for those groups. It's like, for me, I probably wouldn't have been as successful as I was in terms of placement, or in terms of like competitiveness, if I didn't have the This Is Third Strike group, if I didn't have like all the New York players, constantly pushing and constantly saying like, okay, like, you fucking suck, or, like, this is godlike kind of thing, or having those moments where like, we play online or something like that, and we're just like, okay, let's work on this, because that's the biggest thing that will lead to improvement, whether it be you as a player or you as a general competitor. You have those groups, you talk about the game, and that's how you all become successful. So surround yourself with with similar level players, and you'll see that you can all grow together, and that'll be the biggest thing.
Well, right on, man. Right on, for sure. And then with Evo around the corner too, right? Like we got, like fortunately, hopefully, to our viewers that are still listening, hopefully that's something they can start incorporating. Even within this next week, who knows? It can make the biggest difference.
Yeah. Even for a Third Strike Open, by the way, in October, guys, in Texas.
I'll probably be there. There might be a little PNW representation down there. You never know.
Nice.
Yeah. I had a few beers and got the courage and told my wife about it. So my goal is to
any New York
to try to be out there.
Any New York players signed for that yet?
I know Frankie said that he's going.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to get Matt to go. I spoke to him yesterday. He said, "Hold that." He said that he should be going.
Nice.
We're trying to get Envy to go. We're trying to get some of the other players to go. So, yeah, I mean, we'll be there. Well, I'll be there for sure. So.
Bring our basketball shoes. We got to make the game happen.
Oh well, I suck at basketball, but that's Frankie's department.
yeah. Just don't wear Crocs when you play, bro. That's it. That's actually a true story. When I first met Frankie, by the way, this is true. When I met him, not this last.
When you came to New York, right?
No, I met him at the finale.
Oh yeah.
In 2023. So I met him there, and I've always respected Frankie for who he is, his accomplishments. He just seemed like a chill dude. And then I remember I saw him, and I was like, I saw the sandals and socks. And I wasn't cool. I'm not cool with him to I was just like, because I kind of almost came off like a little aggressive because I just wanted to play him, right? So I wanted to play him in the finale. I want Frankie. And I wanted to play him. I wanted to take the opportunity. And I went up to him. I went up to him to clear the air. I'm like, hey, I'm not like coming for your throat. I just being honored to play. But I noticed the socks and the sandals, and I was like, does this guy play basketball? Like, is that like was like the first thing I thought of? And he definitely had a demeanor for it. But yeah, that's a true story between Frankie.
Yeah.
So I was almost like not surprised when I found out that he played.
Yeah.
But
that's funny.
But yeah, man. But anyways, yeah, man. Well, congratulations to you, Nica, for closing out our first tournament.
Thank you.
Obviously, we're gonna try to put something more in stone, but we would love to one day have you out here, check out the Northwest, check out Seattle, and have you get down some games.
Yeah.
And kind of show our scene up, man. For sure.
Yeah.
And but again, man, congratulations.
Thank you. I definitely look forward to the next one, and for anyone who was either watching or playing, good games to everyone. Hopefully more people come out to the next one too, because it's always fun having a lot of players join these. So
can we really handle more players?
Yeah, I think
at this point.
I think you guys did pretty well with running this tournament, so it was pretty nice. Yeah.
Right.
So
half of our team did bail on us.
Yeah.
So
great job to you guys for sure.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks for everybody watching. Again, congratulations to Nica. You guys enjoy the rest of your night.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks all.
Yeah.